Okay. All right.
All righty. Welcome to Credit Unions Forum. I'm Greg Cook, your host and Credit Union CEO. Today, we're diving into one of the biggest strategic growth opportunities in the credit union movement, business lending. For many credit unions, commercial and SBA lending can provide a stronger yield, portfolio diversification, and deeper member relationships. But for many executives and boards, the challenge has always been infrastructure, expertise, staffing, compliance, managing risk. And that's where organizations like CBS CUSO comes in. Today, joining us is John Skeldon from CBS CUSO. Welcome, John.
Greg, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So, just to begin with, why should credit unions seriously consider business lending today?
I think it's a great question. You said earlier, diversification. So I think that's probably number one. So how can you diversify your balance sheet, offer your members, a wide array of products? That's probably, number one and number two, diversification, and then just the availability of other products for your members, but your board obviously and your leadership have to be behind it entirely. CBS exists really because the credit unions have taken that leap of faith and gotten into something that historically credit unions have not either done or not done well. That's why CBS exists. But yeah, I think that those are probably the two reasons: balance sheet diversification and membership offerings.
Okay. Many boards view business lending as quote unquote too risky. What misconceptions do you commonly hear from credit union leadership?
Yeah, I think, change is tough and new things are scary. And I think historically, credit unions did not have the expertise within their four walls to really attack commercial lending at any meaningful level. And that's why CUSOs were developed. So CBS was started in 2003 for that reason exactly. So now credit unions are able to jump into commercial lending. Well, now we're in it. We don't know what the heck we're doing, right? So why don't we create a company is what they did. Why don't we create a company that could be our back office, that could hire experts in the field, and we could all use that as a shared back office to attack the market and compete with other, regional banks, community banks, um, and go about it that way. And that's how this CUSO revolution started in the member business lending world was let's go at it together. What we found pretty quickly is that credit unions were incredible with their membership once the member got within their four walls. But bringing that member or bringing that new member in and letting them know what you do now as commercial lending was a challenge. And so we developed a shared BDO program that was an origination arm for these credit unions. So one of the really, really difficult parts about commercial lending is going out and finding a commercial loan. Sounds easy, but it rarely just walks into your doors. Someone needing $1 million, $2 million loan. If they don't know you do it, they're probably not going to come to you. Um, but but with CBS and this shared BDO origination arm, we were able to do that for you. I think another reason why board members think it's big and scary is because it's just different from every other type of lending. Residential mortgages are different type of lending. Auto lending is different type of lending than commercial. It's a different language, right? And so,
Yes.
understanding that on your own, if you don't have that expertise, it's challenging. It takes time. It's expensive. All those things, and all of that is scary. Um, but if you partner with a CBS, with a member business lending CUSO, you can go about it. You can add that to your arsenal without, building out the systems internally, without investing in all that tech that it takes to build a robust offering. Um, NCUA obviously wants you to have some experts on staff, but you don't need an entire team, right? You can come on board with CBS or CUSO and develop along with it. Also, what we did was, in your case, Greg, is you've got seven other credit unions in Northwest Ohio that
Mhm.
that are in this partnership with you, right? And a lot of them have done it at a meaningful level for a long time. And they're kind of your shoulder to cry on too, if you need it. And so I think that cooperative, collaborative spirit that CBS has fostered helps out a lot too, and would ease that I don't know that those pain points or that fear that your board may have.
Now, how can a credit union manage risk properly while still growing a healthy commercial portfolio?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty simple. Take a small bite of a lot of deals, right? So, you know, a credit union of your size, I don't expect you to take two, three, $4 million pieces of a loan. That loan goes bad, that's going to hurt really, really bad, right? But if you take 25, 50, 100,000, 250,000 of a loan and that loan goes bad, it's not going to sting as bad, right? Obviously, we're going to manage that. We're going to underwrite it. We're going to close it appropriately. We're going to manage that loan through the life of it in the hopes that it doesn't go bad, but it's lending. There's risk. Obviously, we know that loans go bad from time to time. But I think if you mitigate that with taking small chunks of a lot of loans, that's helpful. I think also you've got to develop your own policy and you've got to understand what your leadership team and your board is comfortable with and stick to that. So if you guys say at University of Toledo, hey, we don't want to do anything outside of Northwest Ohio, or we don't want to do anything outside of Ohio, well, then don't participate in the deal in California. You know, um, that's against your core value. That's against your policy. That's against who you stand for. So stick to that. And I think, a CUSO can help you with that. And especially a CUSO like CBS, who has locally originated deals that you can take a look at. I would imagine if you look at your portfolio, most of the deals are in Northwest Ohio. And that
Yes.
sticks to your core, right? Who you guys are. And that's helpful.
So more and more, executives and boards are thinking of business lending or hearing business lending. For a credit union that has little or no commercial lending experience, what's the best way for them to get started?
Yeah, I would say, going back to using that community of credit unions. So I don't think that CBS could exist if we worked with a bunch of community banks in the same role that, the servicing role that we play. Credit unions work so well together, right? You guys are, I'll call them friendly competitors in Northwest
Sure.
Ohio,
Well,
right?
people helping people. It's that whole collaboration, something you find in the credit union space, you're not going to find in the banking space.
Yeah, it would just be really, really difficult, I think. And so I think just that general overall concept really helps those credit unions that don't have a robust level of expertise within their four walls. You've got your brothers around you in the community in the credit union space that can help with that. Um, I think also, different trainings that are out there that you can take either in person or online is very, very helpful. Um, getting together with CUSO, who's been doing it for a long, long time. The head of our credit team has been with our company for 20, 21 years. He, essentially developed our policy over the years. Andy Weingartner is a wealth of knowledge, right? I would say, hey, let's get Andy in and talk to your board, right? Let's get Andy in and talk to anybody's board. He's going to educate you on, you know, who CBS is as a company from our credit culture. And then he's seen it all, right? He's seen a lot over the years. I think he can really, really help out. So I think the combination of going at it with a CUSO, going at it with your credit union brethren that are in your community, and then other resources, other training resources. Um, Hiring is also important, right? So, your next hire, it may make sense for them to have some type of commercial expertise in addition to whatever you need them to do, whether it's on the commercial side or something else. Having a few, 2, 3, 4, 5 years of commercial expertise may help out in your shop, right? I know, you know, when CBS reviews a loan and offers it to you guys, we're not offering it to you guys and we're saying, hey, you have to do this loan. We're offering it up to you and it's got a recommendation. CBS approves this loan. You guys make your own independent decision on every deal. You say, yes, we want to do this loan because we vetted it and we like it for XYZ reasons and we want to take this much of the loan. Or, hey, John, we don't want to do this one. And that's totally fine. Everyone's an independent decision based on the parameters that you guys have in place at your credit union.
Now, I know you guys got all different, sizes of credit unions and credit unions with more or less experience. How specifically does CBS help credit unions that don't yet have an in-house expertise, dedicated lenders, or commercial, infrastructure?
Yeah, I think CBS plays a role with every credit union client that we have. We've got credit union clients that are $2 billion, $3 billion, $10 billion. They've got robust shops on their own. We're an addition to what they do, right? We're like an additional line in the water, for like a fishing reference. You're going to catch more fish if you got more lines in the water. For those smaller credit unions, we're a solution. And we offer the ability for them to get into it. You guys may not have the ability to staff an entire commercial department, right? But you can dip your toe in it with CBS and compete at a meaningful level with, the staff of, 85 people that we have and the expertise. Our CEO has been our CEO since day one, right? For 23 years. It's a good sign, right? It's a sign that the board has faith and trust in him. He's built a good company. A lot of us on the leadership team have been here a long time. We've seen it all, right? We've seen a lot of it at least. We've been through good cycles, we've been through bad cycles, and we've still continued as a team, right? I think there's a lot that you can learn from that as a newer credit union starting up. Um, reach out to us. Reach out to the credit unions that are in the model with you. I think that's really, really helpful. But I think for those smaller credit unions, we can really be a solution and offer them hope for another product type that they wouldn't be able to do on their own.
Talking about other credit unions that are in our group, leads us right into the next question. How important are loan participation and collaboration between credit unions in today's commercial lending environment?
I think I think they completely matter. I mean, even though we've got some larger credit unions in Northwest Ohio, um, still competing against community banks and regional banks in this market is difficult, even if you're a large credit union. So I think, from a just a competitive standpoint, I think they really matter. And then, the way that you probably look at it is it's another investment opportunity. It's another balance sheet play for you. So, you know, you may not have the opportunity to do that $5 million loan on your own, but the balance sheet investment play for you to take $250,000 of that $5 million deal matters to you, right? I mean, I don't know. I'm not in the residential mortgage game. I'm not in the auto game, but there's ebbs and flows in all type of lending. So if one's down and another one's up, that's good for you, right? That's good to have that balance sheet diversification. So. I think participations, I'm in the world, right? So I'm a little bit biased, but I think participations are really important to credit unions. And I think it's a way for you guys to compete against those other, lenders that are out in the market that you wouldn't be able to compete against on your own.
So participations allow smaller institutions to get involved by spreading the risk appropriately.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've done, most of what we do is real estate lending, and we've done one of the fun things in my job is being able to drive around Northwest Ohio and say, I did that deal, I did that deal, I did that deal, I did that deal. And it's been with your money, right? It's been with your members' money. And I think that's really, really cool. You can go and see some, prominent piece of dirt in Toledo at the corner of Main and Main and said, a credit union consortium did that deal, right? We funded that deal. Like, I never thought that was possible, right? 17
Right.
years ago when I joined this company, I didn't really know what a credit union was. And to think now that we could do a $10 million deal in Northwest Ohio through credit union money is remarkable.
And well, that really this is just kind of segueing right in from one to the other. So for the credit unions that aren't involved with any type of business lending, what types of business lending opportunities are credit unions missing by not using a CBS today?
Yeah, I think, there's a bunch of different loan products out there. The one that credit unions kind of shift to, gravitate to is real estate because you can go out, you can touch it, you can understand it. Um, we we don't do a great job with like lines of credit, C&I lending, borrowing bases, money that moves a ton. because you really need platforms in place to be really, really dynamic at that. So what we do mostly and primarily is commercial real estate lending. And I think it's participated easily. It's underwritten. We have the expertise to do it, so we know what we're doing. So I think if you're a credit union that's not involved in it, and you're a credit union of any size, I'm talking anything over probably 60, 70 million dollars. Our sweet spot of credit unions is probably that, let's call it 100 million to $1 billion credit union. If your board is behind it, your leadership team is behind it, um, I think you could be missing out. You could be missing out on another opportunity to invest your members wisely, in a high yield, um, you know, low delinquency opportunity and be competitive in the market. I think it's really important. You're missing out on the ability to be more competitive.
You know, getting back to the whole, credit unions, people helping people, and helping the unbanked and underserved. Are there underserved small businesses, commercial real estate opportunities, SBA lending, local economic development opportunities where credit unions can compete more effectively?
Yeah, I think so. I think, maybe if you go to that SBA or you go to maybe like real small business lending there is, um, credit unions are out there to help their community, right? And so if you can get involved in those kind of low dollar amount loans, um, that probably makes an impact in the community. CBS doesn't do a whole lot of that. We go with a little bit of the higher dollar amount commercial real estate loans, but there's obviously an opportunity out there, and I think a void out there. Whether it's low income designation, whether it's startup businesses, there's probably an opportunity out there. It's not our expertise, but it is kind of, along the lines of your core values. Again, people helping people. Um, they need access to capital. Credit unions could probably be a resource for that. Um, the one thing I love about it is that it's still local. I read an article this morning that came out from the Ohio Credit Union League, and it was about a credit union in Indiana buying a community bank over in Northwest Ohio.
Yeah,
And
there's some of that going on.
yeah, and it was a great article. I thought it was really, really well written by the league that just basically spoke to the fact that credit unions are buying, small banks out there. There's not many of those transactions that have happened, but they are happening. And the uniqueness of it is that they're keeping those jobs in that community. They're not taking that back to a big conglomerate and
Right.
pulling those jobs away from the community. It's actually a benefit when a credit union comes in and buys a community bank because of what their core values are and what they're committed to. So if you have an opportunity to read that article, if you haven't seen it yet, pull up LinkedIn. It was, I don't know who from the league wrote it, but they did a fantastic job.
Yeah, I saw one article that Paul Mercer had written on there. I know
Yeah.
you've been doing this for a little while now. If you were looking ahead, say 3 to 5 years, what role do you believe business lending will play in the future growth of credit unions?
Yeah, I think credit unions are going to continue to get bigger and stronger and offer more, valuable opportunities for their members, whether that's through mergers to get larger or just technology to allow them to offer, bigger and better products. But commercial real estate isn't going away. Um, and it's I think it's going to be more and more important as an offering for you leaders in the credit union space. I think there's going to be a lot of consolidation with credit unions. There's going to be a lot of consolidation with CUSOs. We're all going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But what it's going to allow us to do is, I think, get even better out there in the market, get even more competitive out there in the market. So 3 to 5 years, I mean, heck, I don't even know if AI was around 3 to 5 years ago. So I don't know what it's going to look like. It's going to
Right.
look a lot different than it is today, and we have to be okay with that and prepared, and we have to adapt. And I think credit unions can, right? They're small enough that they can adapt. CBS and CUSOs are small enough that we can adapt to, and we have to. The whole fintech movement, the whole CUSO movement, I think has been really beneficial for credit unions. Greg, you don't have to go out and build it anymore. You've got a fintech or a CUSO that's already built it, is already doing it really well. It's just got to be able to plug into your core now. And here's another offering that you have for your members. So I think there's a space out there for us in the next 3 to 5 years. I think it's going to be really important.
What separates successful commercial lending programs from ones that struggle?
Well, I mean, I think back to your policy again, right? You've got to write a policy, you've got to understand the policy, you've got to commit to it. If you stray from that, I think that's where you can get it can get a little hairy because your examiners are going to come back in and they're going to revert right back to that policy. Are you doing what you set out to do? So I think successful commercial lending platforms start with your policy. Make sure that's strong. Um, and then I think you know, don't go at it entirely on your own, right? Use experts, use people that have been around the block for a long time. I think if you try to go at it on your own and you don't know what you're doing or you're not fully committed to it, you could get in trouble. Um, so I think a credit union in your size, I would say CBS is fantastic for you. I think it's absolutely fantastic, right? I think at CUSO, a member business lending CUSO is wonderful for University of Toledo Federal Credit Union. I think it's awesome, right? You going at it on your own would be a challenge, right?
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely.
And I think the NCUA would come in and say, yeah, you got to have, more here and you got to have more there, and they're probably right. But I think unsuccessful is when you get over your skis, try to do a little bit too much, and you're not relying on the backbone of that strong policy.
Well, John, I told you I'd keep you to about 20 minutes. We're at about that mark. I'd like to thank you for joining us today and sharing your expertise on commercial and business lending. I think business lending represents a tremendous opportunity for credit unions to grow. And if they do it right, like with CBS, they can do it, responsibly, strengthen relationships, and diversify their income. If anybody has any interest in learning more about CBS, how can they find you?
Yeah, so I'm up here in Toledo, right? Northwest Ohio boy. Probably the best way is to email me. You want me to give my email
Sure.
or
However
okay,
you like,
so
your website, email, however they can find you and learn more about you.
yeah, so the website is cbscuso.com. It's Cooperative Business Services CUSO, so cbscuso.com. My email is jskeldon@cbscuso.com. Been around here for a long time, not going anywhere. Really love the credit union space and what you guys do for your members out there in the community. So, Greg, I appreciate you having me on today.
All righty. Well, thank you again for coming on here. And I'm Greg Cook, and we'll see you next time.